Hi, and welcome back to Thone's Hebrew Nibbles number 170. Concluding Religious Directions, Section 1, The Spiritual Rulers on Earth, Part 2 of 5, Leaders to Death. And this is a somewhat, a sort of a sad part of all this. We already have read Hebrews 13, 7 through 11, so we'll jump right in here. Leadership lives cut short, and there's examples of this. Why is this in the Bible? To show the many martyrs of the early church. Communications, right thinking leaders is what we would need. Application to me. Them which have the rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of God, are referred to as the leaders. And in this next section, and this next section was written by Theodore Omopsusia. Sorry about that pronunciation. And he was referring to leaders. The leaders are those who have proclaimed the word of godliness among them and were killed by the Jews on the spot. And there were many, not only Stephen and James, who were killed by the sword, but also James, the brother of the Lord, and very many others handed over in silence. And this comes from his work, Fragments on the Epistle to the Hebrews. And remember, some of these that I have been quoting here and there are generally religious leaders and writers in the century or century and a half after the death of John, let's say. Maybe even half a century after the death of John, some of them. So this gives you an idea of what the people who were much closer to the events than we are were thinking. And thankfully it lines up with what we think very often. God says, doing right is the only way to serve God. Doing right. My response, Lord, thank you for explaining the potential dangers for us in following the guidance of the Lord. So there are physical dangers involved in some places at some times. And in particular, we're giving the example here of some people who were killed by the Jews in the very early church time, Stephen being the one that was most famous. Okay, we'll talk to you next time.